Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to the 18th lesson of our simplified Tajweed series, which is a series of Tajweed lessons introduced by Quran University uniquely designed Quran learning management system with the purpose of introducing Tajweed in a modern and easy approach. Through this series of lessons, you'll be introduced to Tajweed rules using a unique, modern, and innovative approach to teach Tajweed, utilizing the color codes of Mushaf al-Tajweed as a common denominator to link between those lessons and Tajweed rules. With such approach, we aim to make the understanding of Tajweed rules much easier and help you to practically apply those rules while reading the Quran. And the topic of this lesson is Qalqalah. In our Quran learning management system, whether we're using the desktop version or the mobile version, in both cases, we use the Ottoman script of Medina Mus'haf with Tajweed color codes, which we call Qawaid Alwan al-Tajweed or Tajweed color legend, where every Tajweed rule is given a unique color code. The objectives of these color codes is to alert us to Tajweed rules while reading the Quran. If we look at the colors reflected by the Tajweed color legend, we'll find the color light blue. And if we search for a letter given such a bright blue color in this Quran page, we'll find several letters. One of them is this Jim in the word Ajran. Ajran, if we see the Jim here, it's given this light blue color and it has a sukun sign on top of it. This bright blue color reminds us with the hukum of Qalqalah, with the rule of Qalqalah, which means that we have to vibrate that sound of the still letter. And this is basically our lesson for today, the Qalqalah lesson, which is symbolized by the color light blue in Mushaf al-Tajweed in addition of the sukun symbol. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to learn the applied Tajweed definition of Qalqalah, learn about the letters of Qalqalah, and take examples of Qalqalah rules, and practice what we've learned by attempting to extract cases of Qalqalah from the Quran and apply Tajweed rules on them. Now we're going to define what we mean by Qalqalah. Linguistically, Qalqalah means vibration, shaking, or disturbance. But in applied Tajweed definition, what we mean by Qalqalah is vibrating the pronunciation of some letters when they are in the still state, when they are sakin, resulting in giving a strong accent to the letter being pronounced. And those letters related to Qalqalah are basically a group of letters, 5 letters, gathered in these 2 words. Qutbu Jad, Qaf, Ta, Ba, Jim, Dal. Now we have to define some few characteristics related to the Qalqalah. The first one is that Qalqalah occurs only when the letter is in still state, when it is on sukun. Second characteristic is that Qalqalah is an independent sound character. Given to the letter, it is not a fatha, nor it is a dhamma, nor a kasra, and should not be affected by the movement, the haraka, of the preceding letter, nor the following one. Qalqalah itself, according to severity, can be classified into high, medium, or low, based on the level of severity of applying the Qalqalah. Now we'll go through the Qalqalah letters quickly. As we said, they are combined in these 2 words, Qutbu Jad, Qaf, Ta, Ba, Jim, Dal. And to explore the articulation zones of these letters of Qalqalah, we add a sukun, silence, then attempt to pronounce the letter. Let's start with the Qa. What we're doing is to add sukun. We're going to say Iq, It, Ib, Ij, Id. And that will let us explore the articulation of each of those letters. The Qaf, articulation, Iq, opposite to the most posterior part of the tongue. This is the most posterior part of the tongue in blue. And when that goes up towards the roof of the mouth, posterior to the hard palate at what we call the soft palate and the uvula, that is basically where the qa is articulated. Iq. Now we'll try with the ta. It. It articulates between the top of the front of the tongue. This is the tongue. This is the front part of it, and this is in blue, is the top of the tip. And as it is pushed towards the gum of the upper incisor 2 teeth, while raising the most posterior part of the tongue up. And you can see how the tongue is concave upwards here. Now, the ib articulates, or the ba articulates by bringing the two lips together, closing the two lips. And that's why with the ba is considered to be a bilabial letter. Articulates the jim between the middle of the tongue, this blue area, and the roof of the mouth at the hard palate. Id. It articulates at the top of the tip of the tongue with the upper incisor teeth, similar to the ut in that case. But if you see here that the back of the tongue is depressed, while in the ut the back of the tongue was raised. Compare the front, the same, but the back is different between the ut and the id. So let's learn the rules of Qalqalah. When is Qalqalah indicated? Qalqalah is indicated when one of its letters, qutb jad, qaf, ta, ba, jim, or dal, exists in a still state, halat sukun, sakin. Let's take this example. Let's look at this qaf. It is one of the Qalqalah letters. It is the first letter of the qutb jad, and it is in light blue color, and it has a sukun on top of it. So it's basically this qaf. This qaf letter is in still state. It is sakin and it has a sukun symbol. So the rule of Qalqalah would apply on it. So we pronounce it strong with vibration. We don't say iqra, we say iqra, iq, and not a simple iq, but iqra, iq, iqra. And then we look here, we'll find that there is another qaf, but it has a fatha and it has a tanween with kasr. Yet the rule of Qalqalah would still apply on those two qafs. The reason is, although it has a haraka, it has a movement, yet as we stop on it, as we pause the reading at the end of the verse, at the end of the ayah, where the rule is that we always pause with sukun. So we don't say الذي خلق خلق, we say الذي خلق من علق. So we apply sukun, and accordingly the qaf letter becomes still due to the pausing of recitation at it, despite the fact that it is primarily not in a still state. It has a movement, a haraka on it. So whether the sukun is original, meaning a primary feature of the letter, or whether the sukun is incidental, it's not original, but caused by pausing at the end of the verse, in both cases the rule of Qalqalah should be applied. So we have to say iqra, الذي خلق من علق, where we implement the rule of Qalqalah, vibrating those letters, producing a strong accent. While in the khalaqa example, the qaf has a fatha, although it is part of these qutb jad letters, yet we don't apply the Qalqalah. We say khalaqa al-insana min alaq, without really vibrating that qaf and giving it a strong accent. Unlike the qaf with sukun, in this case we don't apply Qalqalah rule. Qalqalah based on severity can be classified into 3 degrees or levels: the high, medium, and low. The high level happens when the Qalqalah letter comes at the end of the word and it is emphasized or stressed, which means it has a shadda. And this in fact is the strongest form of Qalqalah. This is because we pause at the word completely as we emphasize it. An example: تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. تب. We realized the ba, which is one of the letters of Qalqalah, qutb jad, the ba, has a shadda, and it is at the end of the verse. All these combined together make it high Qalqalah. وتب. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. On the other extreme of the pyramid, we have the lowest level of Qalqalah, when the Qalqalah letter comes in the middle of the word, or at the end of a word that we don't pause recitation at. And an example, iqra. So there is, if we listen, a much lighter level of Qalqalah. Iqra. Qalqalah do exist, but it's not like watab. Iqra. And the reason for that is that as the tongue is getting ready to pronounce the following letter, it puts less stress on the currently pronounced letter. So as you're moving from the qaf to the ra, you don't have much time to perform the vibration like when you pause and stop. Now, in between the low and the high, we have the medium, when Qalqalah letter comes at the end, like this, but it's not emphasized, doesn't have a shadda, no stress sign. Khalaq. So khalaq is paused because it's at the end of the verse, But there's a difference between خلق and وتب. This one has a shadda. This one has a fatha without a shadda. So the lowest is اقرأ. The medium خلق. The highest وتب. Now we'll take more examples to illustrate that. We'll take examples for low qalqalah, then medium, then high. And for each one of those, we're going to see the letters of qalqalah, qutbu, jad. We'll start with the qaf letter, with the first example of the low qalqalah, اقترب للناس حسابهم. And as we see here, we find the qaf in the middle of a word. اقترب, اقترب. We realize, because it's in the middle, it's the lowest level of qalqalah. اقترب. Second, وتطمئن. Low, ta, middle of the word. وتطمئن. Ta with sukoon in the middle of the word. وتطمئن. Next, يرفع إبراهيم القواعد. The ba in the middle of a word. إبراهيم. يرفع إبراهيم. Next, the jim in the middle of a word. أجرى. لاتخذت عليه أجرى. The jim here with sukoon in the middle of the word. أجرى. لاتخذت عليه أجرى. Next, أدري. دال low qalqalah. دال in the middle of the word. أدري. قل إن أدري. أقريب. So we finished the examples of the low qalqalah. Now we're going to the examples of the medium qalqalah, starting with the qaf first. فج عميق. We notice all of these has sukoon and they're at the end of the words compared to these in the low qalqalah which were at the middle of the words. And we realize that they have sukoon, while in this one of the high qalqalah they have shadda. So we'll take the first example of the medium qalqalah. عميق. فج عميق. Qaf with sukoon at the end of the verse. عميق. Next example. محيط. Ta at the end of the word, at the end of the verse. Ta محيط. والله من ورائهم محيط. عذاب also. That at the end of the word, at the end of the sentence or the verse. عذاب. صوت عذاب. Then البروج. End of the word, end of the sentence, end of the verse, and it has sukoon. البروج. والسماء ذات البروج. And then الأخدود. Dal at the end of a word, at the end of a verse. الأخدود. قتل أصحاب الأخدود. Now we're moving to the high qalqalah, and the difference between it and the medium is the medium had a sukoon at the end, while these ones has a shadda. Start with والوزن يومئذ الحق. As we see, the qaf here has a shadda. So when you say الحق والوزن يومئذ الحق. Next example, محيط. Next example, وتب. إن تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. The ba has a shadda. وتب. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. الحج. 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 أشد. Dal at the end with shadda. أشد. أشد. Now let's put what we have learned into practice and try to extract qalqalah from these shaded verses in this page of the Quran. So now let's look at these shaded verses and look for one of the qutb letters with a light blue color like this. We'll start. We'll find that there is a jim here. The jim is in the middle of a word and it has a sukoon and it is in the middle of the verse. So the hukum is little qalqalah. تجري. Next is a ta. Ta again is one of Qutb Jad letters, and it is in the middle of a word with a sukun on top of it, and it's in the middle of the verse, and again the hukum is little qalqalah, batsh. Next is shadid. We'll find here that the dal not having a sukun, but it's at the end of a word, at the end of a sentence. So as we're pausing on it, we are actually giving it sukun, and that gives it the hukum of intermediate qalqalah, because it is at the end of the ayah, but without shadda. Next is yubdi'u. Yubdi'u is a middle of the word. The ba is one of Qutb Jad letters. The ba with sukun at the middle of a word, at the middle of a verse. So the hukum is little qalqalah, yubdi'u. Next is yu'id. The dal here is at the end of a word, at the end of a verse, but it doesn't have a shadda, so it is intermediate qalqalah. Wa yu'id. Next is al-wadud. Dal here is again at the end of the word, at the end of the ayah, and it doesn't have a shadda, so the hukum is intermediate qalqalah. Wadud. Tajri. Batcha. Shadid. Yubdi'. Yu'id. Al-wadud. Next, more examples in another group of verses. Again, look for Qutb Jad with a light blue color. We'll start with kadha. So, middle of a word, middle of the verse, with sukun, hukum is little qalqalah, kadha. Next, yad'u. Same, middle of a word with sukun, middle of a verse, so the hukum is little qalqalah, yad'u. Next is uqsim. Middle of the word, middle of the verse, has a sukun, little qalqalah, uqsim. Ash-shafaq. End of the word, end of the verse, without shadda, intermediate qalqalah, bish-shafaq. Wasaq, same, end of a word, end of a verse, no shadda, so basically intermediate qalqalah. Wasaq. Kadha. Yad'u. Uqsim. Bish-shafaq. Ma wasaq. Next, we're going to discuss some of the common mistakes that people tend to do when pronouncing qalqalah. First, do not mix qalqalah sound with haraka. As we said, qalqalah always comes with sukun, so it shouldn't be with a fatha or dhamma or kasra. So we don't say al-falaqa, falaqa. We say al-falaq. The second mistake is that some people add a hamza sakina after the qalqalah. You shouldn't do that. So we shouldn't say hatab. And the proper way of pronouncing it is hatab. We shouldn't say hatab, but instead we should say hatab. Next mistake, do not perform qalqalah to the letter following the qalqalah letter. Like here, the qalqalah letter is the dal, the mid dal sakina at the middle of the word. So we say al-qadr, but we shouldn't say al-qadr. Al-qadr is wrong, and the right way of saying it is al-qadr. Similarly, don't perform qalqalah to the letter preceding the qalqalah letter. So neither to the one following nor the one preceding. The mistake is the qalqalah is at the end here, the dal, and some people not only make qalqalah to the dal, but they also make qalqalah to the ha, and that's wrong. So we shouldn't say bil ahad. This is wrong. And the right way of saying that is to say bil ahd. One more mistake is making qalqalah for dad. Dad is not among qalqalah letter. It's not among Qutb Jad. So saying yadhakun qadba is wrong. This is all wrong. We should say yadhakun qadba, yadhakun qadba, not yad or qad, but yad, qad. And one more mistake is the nun sakina of Surah Al-Fatiha in An'amta. A lot of people tend to make this nun with qalqalah. They say An'amta, and this is wrong. What we should do is we shouldn't make qalqala for this noon, and the noon is just a simple noon sakina without qalqala. We say an'amta, not an'amta, just a simple an'amta. Now we're going to summarize the qalqala lesson in one slide. Qalqala is indicated for 5 letters gathered in the word qutb jad. The rule is when one of those qalqala letters of qutb jad exists in a still state, in a halat sukoon, then its pronunciation should be given an extra vibration to produce a strong accent. Such sound shouldn't be mixed with the haraka, neither to be mixed with fatha, nor a dhamma, nor a kasra, and should not alter neither the preceding nor the following letter. Qalqala can be classified into 3 levels according to severity, classified into high, medium, and low qalqala. The symbol used is to give qalqala letter a light blue color, plus giving it a sukoon sign, as we see here. And then we took several examples to illustrate al-qalqala, such as al-haqq, muhit, al-hajj, ashad, and others. And with this summary, we reach the conclusion of this lesson on qalqala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that bi'awnihi wa qudratihi, that the Quran learning management system, برنامج الجامع لحفظ كتاب الله, would help you, inshallah, to improve your tajweed and improve your tilawa and help you in improving your recitation and help you, if you want, in memorizing the Quran and to help you understand the Quran in the proper way. As we reach the end, we ask المولى عز وجل أن يتقبل منا هذا العمل. We ask Allah Almighty to accept this work from us, and we ask you to make dua for those who participated in making this work come to life and reach you. Hoping you all the best. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.